Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today we're going to be unboxing First Martians, Adventures on the Red Planet. This game is published by Portal Games and was created by Ignacy, and his last name is right there. I'm not going to go ahead and say it for fear of butchering it on camera. Now, this game is one I've been looking forward to for quite some time, but the quick snippet about how I obtained this copy was actually from somebody on this channel. I was able to purchase it from them, a subscriber, so I want to thank Jared for allowing me to be able to pick up the game from him. He's a local friend of mine, and I really appreciate the fact that I was able to pick it up from him because I did not pre-order, and so now I'm able to open this up and show you guys what you potentially are going to get in the box retail. One big disclaimer to note is that this being a pre-order copy, it obviously came not only with its own separate sheet to let you know, thanks for purchasing it, but inside the box there's some stretch goals that they actually unlock during that pre-order, and so obviously some of those stretch goals are not going to come over into the retail version. So do your homework in those areas just to be sure that you understand the differences between what you're going to see in this video and what you're going to see if you purchase it in the store. Again, I think that for the most part, most of them is minor. I think you get some painting done on some of the miniatures, and you get some extra cards and things like that. But just do your homework so that you know the differences. But the one thing I want to talk about just before we get to the unboxing, because I'm not going to waste too much time talking, I really want to just crack this thing open right away, is Robinson Crusoe. If you've never played Robinson Crusoe before, do yourself a favor as a new gamer or an experienced one. If you've never had a chance to put this game in front of you or your friends and play this solo or with other people, you need to do it. This game was established prior to First Martians, and essentially has you building from nothing to something. You're kind of trapped on an island. There's many different scenarios. It's very, very cool. The mechanisms that this game brought into the board gaming community and the things that it created inside this game carries over and is maybe enhanced or built upon in First Martians. Except with First Martians, you land on Mars, and essentially you have everything, but you start to see it deteriorate. So a little bit of a different mindset behind the game, or at least structurally, in terms of having access to everything and losing it. But that's pretty much all I want to really just mention, is that if you've never played Robinson Crusoe, do yourself a favor. It's created by the exact same designer and exact same from Portal Games, so something to definitely check out. Anyway, let's get to the unboxing right now. So we're going to crack this thing open because I'm super excited to find out what's inside. And do not take my word for anything you hear, because I have not actually played it yet. So this is just simply to show you what you get in the box. And again, remember the fact it's a pre-order. Okay, so if I flip this over and take a look at the back, we have just a little quick description, which I'm not going to go ahead and read. It says you landed on Mars and now you need to explore the planet, maintain your base, research Martian samples, and survive. Shows you a big list of contents. It's got the Portal logo right here. Also mentions there's a free app you're supposed to download as well to use the game, so don't forget to do that. 6 missions are included right here, 2 campaigns, and again with stretch goals that may or may not have been increased. I don't know, but again, do your homework on that. Up here in the top right is my uncle's Watch It Played channel, and so if you can't handle the rules or the rules are too complex for you, then this is the guy you want to go check out to find out how to play the game. He's already released this because I'm doing this unboxing quite a ways after his release of his playthrough, but I've seen it already and it's fantastic because I haven't even read the rule book, but it made it a lot easier to understand the rules just from watching his video. So do yourself a favor and check that out. Okay, so let's crack this thing open and find out what's inside, because that's really what this is all about. And for those of you who didn't really want to hear all that, I'm essentially just going to throw a link into the video description to jump past all my gibberish and get right to this ripping part, because some people just come just to see a box get opened because it's satisfying in and of itself. All right, here we go. I'm kind of excited because I, to be honest, don't have anything. I don't think I have anything in my collection besides like something like Star Wars. I guess I'm getting Terraforming Mars is something that I'll be getting very, very soon. But it's the first Mars-based game that I have, and I know that seems to be it seems to be the popular thing right now. Actually, it is the popular thing right now, and it's probably going to become to a fault. It'll become, or it's going to continue to be popular. Because we're probably going to see such a massive influx of these games continue to come out until people are sick and tired of them. But for now, they're very, very new and they're very fresh and they're very cool. So again, First Martians, Adventures on the Red Planet, very cool. I like the artwork and the art style on the box. No complaints there whatsoever. I'm just going to lift this cover right off, give you a quick look. the box. Very, very cool. Artwork is very, very nice. All right, let's put this aside and see what we got in here. Okay, so we got the rule book, the First Martians Adventures on the Red Planet rule book. Giant introduction at the bottom, very nice big page, very nice picture on the front, and of course, wow, okay, so there's your components. So if you're talking about going ahead and getting this thing organized, it's got everything you need to see laid out here in terms of what to expect. I'm not going to go through every single page of this, but I'll give you a brief idea of kind of the structure of the rule book and just the look and feel. After I give you a couple pages here, just high level, now you can kind of see roughly what to expect in terms of layout. So there's essentially the layout of the game. So you're seeing kind of how that's going to be set up once it actually gets to your table. Very, very cool. Lots going on. That's the thing about this one. It may and has been told, or told to me at least, and I've heard that this is probably more complex than Robinson Crusoe. It's likely a step up, but if you're familiar with Robinson Crusoe, then you've already essentially got a leg up in terms of understanding, the mechanics of the game. So it helps. But again, I think there's a lot of new introductory mechanics in this one. So let's take a look at the board game. I don't even know if I'm going to, or board game, the board itself, I should say. So the board itself could be very large. It might actually go off the camera itself. I may have not prepared well enough because this thing might be quite large. No, it's pretty average actually. It looks massive in all the other playthroughs that I saw, but here we go. So I mean, that's essentially the board kind of going off the screen, but very, very cool. You can kind of see all the different, there's your ship. This is going to be the area we're exploring. You've got yourself working blocks, living blocks, and system blocks over here. Again, there's no point in talking about specifics on this, but just to give you an idea of what it looks like. Again, this isn't flat because there's a box underneath, but hopefully that gives you a good idea of what to expect. And again, to just fold it up, it's fairly simplistic. Put that to the side. Next thing you're going to see is campaign 2, Welcome to Mars. Do not open or browse. So I'm not going to go ahead and open this because I do not enjoy spoiling anything for anybody. And then the second one here is another campaign book. This looks like campaign 1. And so there's a first campaign, same situation, do not open or browse. Then we get to this one, the rescue team. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this could be the one that's included with the pre-order that's not included with the retail. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. There's certain things that aren't included in the retail one that are included in the pre-order that I have here. So just be 100% certain that you're aware of which ones are and are not there. But this one here is called Rescue Team Adventure Game Book. This one doesn't seem to have any issues with us flipping through it. But again, it just has a lot of text. So it's probably story to go along with your campaign. Then you've got yourself a round summary. That's pretty cool. I like that because it gives you a nice, quick... I'm going to really appreciate that actually when and if I end up doing a playthrough for this, which is likely to happen at some point in the future. We got events, actions, malfunctions, cleanup, morale, production, all kinds of things there. And then again, it's step by step. There is quite a bit to the game. So there's like a list of icons on the back side of this reference sheet that just gives you a breakdown of all the different icons in the game. So that's always handy to have. And then we got what's very similar. So if you're familiar with Robinson Crusoe, again, very, very similar in terms of how they structure their missions per se, or their scenarios. I don't know what they call them here, but they might call them missions. But here you go, like malnourished plants is one of them. On the opposite side, you got local materials. You've got one called a guessing game. You can see they're very different. So they make the scenarios very unique, and they even make the look of it unique. Make yourselves at home. This one's called Landing, and this one's called Probe on the Loose. Very cool. So I'm gonna probably end up diving into this thing and loving it. Just because of the fact I can play it solo. There is a lot. There's going to be a learning curve to it for sure from what I've heard, but I think it's a well worth one. We got a bunch of envelopes, which I'm definitely not opening. This is very, as soon as I see envelopes now, I just immediately think of Gloomhaven, although Gloomhaven did not start the envelope train. But I just think of games like it that have envelopes that are sealed. So obviously it contains information from specific individuals, in this case the MCEI, and do not open unless instructed. So again, if you purchase this retail, don't start ripping these open or you'll make yourself really sad as you spoil a whole bunch of the game content. This right here, not too sure. It says First Martians on it. Looks to be some kind of code to decipher. I think this might have been a stretch goal as well. I think these are what's considered cheat codes. So I was told that there's some math that allow you to potentially get a bunch of answers to come to the side here and give you cheat codes, which I think you can use within the app itself. Very cool and interesting, but again, they may not be in the retail version. This one here, we got some extra point of interest tokens. This set of 4 extra point of interest tokens are also part of the pre-order, not part of retail. So just an extra 4 they bundled in and chucked in for people that pre-ordered. These as well, I'm pretty sure these are part of the pre-order as well. So you got 4 actual AOM tiles for the mapping drones, the robotic manipulator, the automated research assistant, and the autonomous logistics vehicle. So all 4 of those get their own tiles. I'm not too sure if that's, I shouldn't say whether that's in retail or not. Again, do your homework on that. You can find that easily on Board Game Geek or probably likely on Portal themselves. Again, you've got a whole bunch of tokens, which I can't speak much to, except for the fact the top right ones say things like migraine and anxiety attack and poisoning. So that sounds terrible to me. This stuff right here says shut down. So again, this is all going into the situation that I've been told that basically you go into this game with everything, and then as time goes on, things start to go south. And it's really about managing and being very efficient with your moves and your actions. Because things start to go south, as they would in Mars. When you think about landing on a planet that you're not familiar with, obviously there's going to be situations that arise that you're not going to be prepared for. And that, I think the whole purpose of the game is to show you and give you that feel of what it's like to be trying to balance things like your oxygen levels and your farming and your solar panels and all this kind of stuff. So here's another tile. These things are falling right out, which is a great sign because it shows that I don't have to really put too much effort into breaking them out, but they're legitimately falling out. I can barely pick this up, but you got a whole bunch of tiles, and if I just pick one up and take it out, which it might as well because they're already falling out, you'll notice that there's little square cubes inside of them. So inside this farm location, all these little square punch-outs can be knocked out, and then cubes will actually end up in there. So that's pretty cool, and you can see one has already fallen out, and I didn't even mean for it to fall out. So this is going to be, oh my god, this is going to be really fun to try to keep together, because it looks like half of it wants to just go everywhere. I'm going to try to keep it organized so that later on I can go through this mess and not make any mistakes or lose anything. Then we've got a second one. I'll try not to crack this one as well. The basic, oh wow. So they are ready to go. There's no waiting. A whole bunch of shutdown tiles. These are all the different spots that went into the different, I think it was on the right-hand side of the board. These are the working rooms essentially, or the different rooms in the place. The crew quarters right here fell out. So this is what you're going to see with this is some more points of interest. These are coming with the retail version. You're going to start seeing these kind of reddish tiles. This is, of course, the actual land you're traveling on, or Mars itself. Wilderness, desolation, plateau, that type of thing. First player token. So you got some trackers here, you got some objective tokens, and actually if you don't just punch these out and throw the inserts, you'll notice they've actually nicely, and this is kind of rare actually because some games don't do this, they actually put the actual token name beside it. So you can actually, before you punch them out, be like, okay, these are morale tokens. Thank you. That's great. There's a lot of games that don't do that. They'll give you a gigantic tray of tokens and you just punch them all out and then you look to the rulebook to figure that out. I appreciate the fact they actually put the wording on the punch board itself because that really helps. As you can see, just the jostling around of the box itself, probably when I was flipping it like a lunatic, has already dislodged a whole bunch of them. They're all in the bottom of this thing. So not a big deal, not the end of the world. Just got to basically pick them all up and get them out of the way. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to find them all, of course. They're all spread out everywhere. Now, this is where it gets interesting because, again, doing your homework in terms of pre-order versus retail, there's some things in here that are different. So, for instance, these are washed minis. So these are the minis. This is your space station. No, this is your, sound like Dr. Evil a little bit. But essentially, this is a space station, and you have a washed miniature here. So this washed miniature will not be in the retail version. You'll just get a typical gray one. It'll look just like this. Oh, I shouldn't say it'll look like this. It will. The plastic itself will look just like this, but the coloring and the wash and the painting on it will not. So the pre-order copies got a wash, which is like a nice free kind of addition to be able to just start playing right away without having to do any painting. So you got some pretty cool vehicles there and stuff. So that's going to be really cool. They'll end up looking really nice on the game board. So I'm going to put these to the side really quick. And we'll move on to the next thing. Dice. Oh, I like the dice. I like the dice already. I've always, for some strange reason, had a massive fondness for dice that are see-through, like transparent. And I think I first fell in love with dice like that when I saw Super Dungeon Explorer. It was the first game that I picked up and I was like, oh man, these dice are awesome. And they were like completely transparent. They looked like candy to me. And maybe that's the problem, is they look like candy and I just get really excited. But you can see here that it looks like they've done the same thing with this game. Looks like some of the major dice are very, very nice quality. And again, very transparent and thematic for space. We've got some other dice here. Again, I don't know what's what, so I can't say what you're looking at specifically, but what you are looking at is some high quality dice. That is fairly obvious. So we're gonna chuck these back in the bag and move along. Okay, what else we got? We got ourselves some cubes, because this game, like I said before, when we punched out some of those prior tokens, or those punch boards that fell out for the different, like the farm, for instance, here you go with your cubes, and these are the cubes that you'll be dropping into the different sections of those boards. They're very, very nice. They're also like transparent cubes, and they're very cool looking. So I'm a big fan of that. I like color in games. I find this is why, again, going back to games like Too Many Bones, for instance, I love games that have color. This is one of them. I've opened up the box and already the game's popping. It really comes off the table with some serious color, and it just feels alive. I like that. I don't like games that are grim and, well, I shouldn't say grim, because depending on the thematic feel of it, it might actually justify it being dark. But in general, I prefer a game that has some life to it, so I do appreciate when game designers go ahead and they put in some color to their game, as long as it fits the theme. So again, we won't know too much about what these mean or don't mean until later, but there's a bunch of them in this bag. So you got a bunch of separate baggies, and I also appreciate that. It's nice that they were able to include baggies that are already pre-sealed, so you just drop them back in, you're good to go. Right here you've got some bases. Trying to remember what these are for. The glass bases, what could these be for? I'm not too sure, and I'm probably gonna be laughing at myself later when I rethink that and wonder what that is. But for some strange reason, it's not coming to my mind right away. Then we've got a whole bunch of these little trackers. So these, I think these ones could be. I think the ones that are coming in the retail version are not transparent. I could be wrong, but they're transparent in this one. I could be wrong on that, so double check that. But basically, these are just markers. Very similar to what was in Robinson Crusoe, for instance, with your allies or your player tokens. They were about this size, but they weren't transparent. And you get a bag of them. So there's a whole bunch of different colors. They obviously probably mean different things or associate themselves to different people or items or, allies. Again, can't speak to it too much. Oh, here we go. This is something I can speak to. Here's our actual guys we're going to be working with. So we've got an engineer here. Again, we can actually put a name in. That's cool. So essentially it's like a name tag, which is very cool. So we've got an engineer here with a special ability to spend one something and reroll any brown die. Sorry about the something. I don't know what that is yet. Geologist, Rover OP, spend one and reroll any gray die. We got the medic biologist, spend one and gain one something else. I don't know. And then the scientist, biogeochemist, spend one and reroll any blue die. Again, you got your health in the bottom. Those all get punched out so you can track. Very similar to Robinson Crusoe. So again, if you've played that in the past, it's going to really give you a leg up. A couple things in here. Sorry guys, I just dropped some stickers on the floor. There is some stickers here. So this is a First Martian sticker. I think this one is a pre-order exclusive, which is a First Martian sticker, I believe. This one I think is in every copy, and it's probably going to end up going on one of those tokens that were transparent that I was talking about, but I don't know what these stand for. We'll find out soon enough. One looks like an oxygen, food, and likely power, I guess, would make sense. We got some bunch of cards here with another, oh, look at that, free baggie, awesome. Oh, whole bunch of baggies, that's awesome. I really appreciate it when game companies do that. So we got 3 packs of cards. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of rip these open. Try to. I don't know if we'll get through all of them in this playthrough, in this unboxing, but I will definitely do my best to show you as much as I can. And then from there, we're actually at the end essentially of this one. So here we go. And I don't know what you're seeing, so don't ask me for an explanation. Oh wait, you can't. Warning system, tech room. So these are things that are likely, let's see, draw to ROI tiles. when you take the explore action. Okay, so I'm not too sure. Oh, they're considered upgrade cards. Oh, that's very simple. Server cluster, unmanned collector, 15%, 30%, 35%, 40%. That sounds terrible. Things are changing. These are considered research cards. Okay, interesting. And then we've got north heavy. Okay, northeast, east, southeast, south. That's pretty cool. Very colorful cards. I like that. I like the illumination on the cards. Makes it look like they're actually kind of alive. Again, don't know too much of what I'm looking at, but it's cool to just go through them, just to show you guys what's in here. Worn axle. So these are likely things. Yeah, these are like the malfunctions. These are things that can potentially happen to you that can just kind of mess with you. So very cool. And again, don't want to like sit here and go through every single one of them, but it's nice just to give you a feel of what you're looking at essentially. Let's see, I'll try to open up this next pack. I think we can actually get through them all. If I just go over them very quickly, give you a quick glance at them all, we can fit them in, because there's this pack I'm opening right now and one more, and then that's essentially it. And we should be able to end it in a decent amount of time. So, this is the next pack for the First Martians board game. And let's see, what do we got here? We got... These are malfunctions in the living block. So, no rest for the wicked, your diary, access denied, out of order, hold your breath. These are all different things that can potentially happen. So lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. They're all bad. Medic, biologist, player skills. So these are dependent on your the actual person that you're going to play, which is really cool because you can replay certain scenarios over again and change it up, use a different person. These right here, not too sure. These look like reference cards to me because there's 4 of them. That would be my guess. The Autonomous Logistics Vehicle. So remember those punch-outs that I was talking about that had the 4 of these on it? This is what you get in the retail game, which is what you're seeing in front of me, but in the pre-order copy that I have full-on cardboard copies of these ones. So I don't know. Again, like the pre-order bonuses are nice to have. The cool thing is they do not, you're not losing anything. The only thing I think that's a little bit of a bonus, I think, is that one campaign that was extra. I think that was the only thing that wouldn't be included in the retail copy and could be worth trying to, or like that could be kind of a downside to missing out. But that's about it. I think everything else is pretty straightforward. So let's get this next deck going here. This one is the malfunction in the working block again. So just a whole bunch more of them. This actually continues on to the one we were just looking at. So I know I'm going through these at like lightning speeds. I'm not trying to necessarily show you guys what they are, but I just want to give you an idea of like the art style and the look of them and the wording, and hopefully it gives you a good idea as to like the types of cards that you'll see. This deck looks like it's legitimately just dedicated to that one, so it's a lot of different things that can happen. So again, this is going to end up going on top of the pile with the rest of them, and that's it, guys. That is the unboxing for First Martians. So if you enjoyed what you saw and it was helpful for you, give me a thumbs up in the video below. Let me know that you enjoyed it. In the comments below, let me know whether you think this is a game that you'd be interested in seeing a playthrough for in the future. I got other things in order currently coming up. Sword and Sorcery is the big one, but you know, this could be in the queue. So again, thanks for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.